Assalamu alaikum dear students. It is the third video for the week 2, lesson 3 and 4. In the previous video, second, I reviewed a little bit about the location, topography, and trade routes of the Arabian nations and different tribes. Now, extending this point of view, now we see that what kind of society was Makkah. Makkah was a tribal society where the chieftain or the chieftains used to be the head of the state, fine, and in Makkah they had established a parliament house like place that is called Darun Nudwa, where Quraysh, the biggest tribe in Makkah and distinguished and respectable in the entire Middle East, and second Banu Umayyah, and then there are so many famous tribes of Quraysh who had distinguished positions. This in tribe Quraysh, the family of Hashim, Banu Hashim, had a very promising position. Number one, they were the chief of the Makkah in respect and honor, plus they were the custodian of the Makkabatullah, mean वो काबा के मुजावर भी थे, fine, and these tribes had uh, distributed their responsibilities. Some, like the Banu Hashim, used to look after the Kaaba, and they would treat the delegations, whereas Banu Umayyah and others, they were the warriors, and they used to hold campaign in war against the other tribes. Fine. Well, slavery was, the human beings were divided into almost three kinds. Number one, the free notables of Makkah, that is called Rosai Makkah, Muazzizin Makkah, Shurafai Makkah, ठीक है, जिन्हें अमायदीन मक्का कहते हैं. Second class was the slave, gulam, like slaves like Hazrat Bilal, fine, and slave like Hazrat Yasser, fine. These were the slaves. They would work for these lords, fine. Third type of the people were the immigrants from the other parts of the world, like Hazrat Suhaib Rumi, fine. These were the people who had migrated to other lands and had settled in Makkah, fine. Furthermore, the travelers, the tradesmen, the pilgrims, Haji, Ujjaj, those who would come to Makkah for pilgrim and trade, fine. They were the three classes where the society was divided, fine. People of Makkah would give respect to one another, but there was quite less respect for the women. Women had not any respect. Women were not given any kind of dowry. They were enslaved. They didn't have any established rights. Only the women of the higher families possessed some rights and a little bit dominance over the other, but not most of the women had. Furthermore, that there were some other Makkans who had the belief, like some Christians like Hazrat Warqa bin Nawfal. Some people had the Jew faith, clear. And here also were the people who were not in favor of the worship of idols, जो बुतों की पूजा के खिलाफ थे, but they didn't know which was the right way. Okay. Furthermore, uh, the say the moral values of Makkah were really worst. Killing, barbarism, theft, grabbing the wealth of the other people, they were their worst habits. They used to kill the infant. Clear? They would snatch the uh, the goods of the other traders. So, in many ways, Makkah was somehow a different place. Fine. Well, a time came in the in the history of Makkah when all the people agreed with a mutual consensus to re-establish the moral values. Fine. And the the family of Prophet Banu Hashim were the leading. There was an agreement called Hilful Fuzul. Clear? Mean there was an agreement where all the Meccan agreed that poor will be protected, no person should make any oppression on the other. Fine. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ himself appreciated this event because he was the part of this event and he was the active member, active social worker who got agreed everybody, convinced everybody to accept and to implement this pact or agreement. Well, another thing is that this portion of Hijaz enjoyed a very innovative, freestyle life. They were the people free from the oppression of others. Okay? Because the two major empires of the world, clear? This portion of Makkah, this portion, it was being controlled by the Roman Empire. Fine? At the time, Roman Empire, clear? It was Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Turkey, fine, and Armenia, fine, and Libya and all other countries, they were the great or mighty Roman Empire. Clear? And they would influence on the people of Makkah and Arabs because Arab used to have trade in summer. They would in winter, summer they would move to these regions. Clear? And they would trade to Syria. لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. And in the other seasons they would move to for trade in these regions. Clear? And also in these regions. Fine. Well, Persia on the other hand was other portion was Iran, mean the Persian Empire, mighty Persian Empire. Mighty Persian Empire hold these provinces. Iraq, mean countries. Iraq, Oman, Riyadh, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iran, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, and all the Central Asia, including India, that was they would fall under the and present day Pakistan, some portion of Balochistan that was under this mighty Persian Empire. Okay, so politically these people were under two impressions, one by Christians and other by the Persians. Fine. Now these Persian empires wouldn't interfere into the affairs of these tribes. They would live in desert, and no Persian Empire or not Egyptian Empire ever adventured to interfere into these regions. And for years on, these people would simply nomad, and they would simply roam in these areas, and they were fully happy with their life. Okay, but the life on the planet Earth, by the cruelties of the Roman Empire and the cruelties, uh, worst laws of the Persian empires, the world was in extreme destitute of morality, and दुनिया जो थी वो जुल्म जोर से भर चुकी थी. That time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uh, conferred a prophet. Clear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conferred a prophet, a beloved human being to the humanity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذَا بَعَثَ, कि अल्लाह सुबहाना व ताला ने इंसानियत पर एहसान फरमाया और अपना नबी उनमें भेज दिया जो उनको अल्लाह की आयतें पढ़ के सुनाता है और उन्हें पाकीज़ा बनाता है और उनको हिकमत और दानाई की तालीम देता है. फाइन. सो these backgrounds, that the life in Makkah was miserable, there were quite less moral values, people would uh, fight with one another, fighting would start for years and years. Clear? And worshipping of idols and other superstitions were quite common, and the overall economic situation of the people of Arab were not better. Clear? And uh, they simply were limited to a little bit agriculture in Taif. Taif में कुछ उनका agriculture होता है, तिजारत, and then say grazing the animals या गलाबानी. I hope this is a brief. In the next video, in the next clip, we would talk about the life of the Prophet ﷺ in